Good afternoon, everybody. This is Marcel with IrnieracingNews, hanging out with Coco, the Maine Coon, Fluffy Kitty, and we're doing a story today on our food supply is under attack. This is a story by Druthers. So if you don't know, Druthers has been around for a while doing uncensored news. They have a news publication, a paper that they distribute across of Canada. And they do YouTube channel as well. And one example is they've been, the narrative people have been trying to censor Druthers. And one example is Druthers has a contract with companies to produce their newspaper, right, at a certain cost. And guess what that news producer, or the newspaper printer did? No, we're not printing your paper anymore. So then they had to find a new supply chain to print newspapers. So anyways, guys, let's talk about the food supply under attack. And I'm going to actually read the article by Michelle Zeh, Z-E-H or Z-E-H for the Americans. This is August 2022, issue 21. And let's get at it because there's some great information in here. And let's go right from it. Are you feeling the painful pinch of inflation as your grocery bills soar relative to how many bags you carry out of the store? Yeah, me too. I haven't seen too many empty shelves in my neck of the woods yet, though there are definitely more than I've ever seen before. My jaw drops regularly at the prices as I notice the increases monthly and sometimes weekly. During a press on March, what the hell? Sorry about that, let me correct it. It was just a mistypo. So there was a press release from Justin Trudeau on March 31st. I quote, "We've seen disruptions of supply chains around the world, which is resulting in higher prices for consumers and democracies like ours." Oh my God, Trudeau. Ugh. And resulting in significant shortages and projected shortages of food, of energy in places around the world. This is going to be a difficult time because of the recovery from the pandemic. The U.S. President Joe Biden mumbled something similar this week before. So whether you believe the war between R and U, which can't say those words for these days on the censor tube, which only started in late February, is one of the two stated contributing factors for price hikes on groceries. We've been told to expect food shortages by the powers that be. And what about the fires? In recent months, the internet has been abuzz with stories of numerous fires and explosions at the food processing plants, animal feed processing plants, fertilizer production facilities, food distribution hubs, dairy, egg, poultry, and cattle farms, and meat packers across the U.S., with a couple of notable incidents in Canada and totaling more than 35 such incidents such as since January of this year, guys. 35 fires at food processing plants. Well, Coco is going to take off here. Through fact checkers and government-funded mainstream media, talking heads are out in full force to debunk any claims that this could be a manufactured crisis. There are just too many incidents for the critical thinkers to ignore. Us. We're not going to ignore this. A quick internet search will yield many independent media stories about the fires alongside those fact checks, of course. It's just like anytime I post something on Instagram or Facebook, fact checkers, you're wrong, everything I post is wrong, no such thing as free speech. Continuing. Even the FBI put out a warning in April about increased cyber attack threats on agricultural institutions. In their press release, they specifically noted ransomware attacks in 2021 and early 2022 could disrupt the planting season by affecting supply chains of seeds and fertilizers. Quote, "A significant disruption of grain production could impact the entire food supply chain, since grain is not only consumed by humans but also used for animal feed. In addition, a significant disruption of grain and corn production could impact commodities, trading, and stocks." End quote. So there you have it from the FBI, who raids Trump and essentially is the muscle of the left-wing extremists. What amounts to a manufactured health crisis, in my opinion, that's been pushed onto us for the last 2+ years has most certainly contributed to a lack of overall housekeeping and equipment maintenance through lockdowns, labor shortages, and lack of parts. But the number of fires does seem extreme to me. This could be a deliberate attempt to sabotage our food supply. I've laid our timeline for you below, and further details can be obtained through your search engine. And now I'm going to lay this over top of the screen if I can, or show it at the end, but the list of fires at food processing plants, let's just go through them. November 29th, Made Right Steak Co. was set on fire. December 12th, San Antonio, Texas, West Side Food Processing Plant. December 3rd, in MS, Sanderson Animal Feed Processing. Now we're moving on to 2022. You'll notice a quick uptick in frequency of occurrences. January 2nd in Illinois, the Van Drumen Farm Toot Hill plant. January 7th in Hamilton, Ontario, an unnamed poultry processing plant. January 8th in Fresno, California, Raw Far Creamery. January 14th in LA, Cargill Nutrina Feed Mill. January 20th, Warden, Washington Potato Co. Like every freaking week, guys. January 23rd in Salem, North Carolina, Whiston Weaver Fertilizer. Now, 3 days later in VT, Percy Dairy Farms. And again, the same day in Wisconsin River Meats. And the next day, February 4th in Live Oak, California, Diamond Walnut Growers. A week later, in El Paso, Texas, February 15th, Bonza Meat Co. The next day, February 16th in Illinois, Louis Defras Co. Soybean Processing and Biodiesel Plant. We're going to talk about diesel and that coming up as well. 2 days later, February 18th, in Best View Dairy Farms in VT. 4 days later, February 22nd in Oregon, Sherry's Food Potato Plant. February 28th in NB, Shadowbrook Farm and Dutch Girl Creamery. Holy crap. And let me scroll over here. March 23rd, Sherbrooke, Quebec, the Centre de la Valorisation de l'Element de S3. March 24th in ME, Penos Upscott Macrum Potato Processing Plant. Yeah, a lot of potatoes, guys. March 29th, Arizona, Maricopa Food Pantry. March 31st, Texas, Rio Fresh Union Packing Facility. Is this not clicking with anybody? Fires and fires at all of the food processing plants, yet none of the mainstream dinosaur media is mentioning any connection. Some investigators these police forces are. Bunch of shit shows. April 11th in New Hampshire, East Conway Beef and Pork. April 13th in Salinas, California, Taylor Farms Food Processing. Again, the same day in Idaho, Gem State Potato and Food Processing Plant, another potato. April 18th, Azure Standard, largest U.S. organic food distributor in Oregon. April 20th, in Kansas, Nutrient Agriculture Solutions Fertilizer Plant. The next day, April 21st, in Georgia, General Mills Celery Plant. 3 days later, April 24th, Cedar Rapids, Illinois, General Mills Manufacturing Site. The next day, April 25th, Hormel Foods in VA. April 28th, Agriway Partners. Okay. Oh my God, there's more. West Virginia, Purdue Farms Plant on April 30th. Now we're into May, back in Fresno, Saladino's Food Processing Plant. I swear we actually heard that name earlier. It's just another one in Fresno. May 7th in Wisconsin, JBS Meat Packing Plant. May 29th in MN, Foreman's Farms. May 31st, another same in Minnesota, Minnesota Valley Irrigation Equipment used in farming. June 8th, LA Purina Food Mill. June 13th, Wisconsin Festive Foods. July 13th, Texas Purina Feed Mill. So, I mean, we're almost caught up. There'll be more to show up in the listing for July and August now, guys. Wow. Does this not raise alarms? Really start to need, everyone really needs to think about their own food security. This is sabotage, guys, on the government level. the globalist level. An article from US-based National Fire Protection Association, NFPA Journal, even though they admittedly don't keep data specifically to fires that occur in food processing plants, claims there's nothing to see here. And so just like the WHO and the CDC, all these are bought. Just like the Milk Dairy Farmers of Canada, that group, that union is bought, guys. It is owned and by the government. The government is doing controlled dairy in Canada for decades. And this is why our cheese in Canada is very low quality and the price is ridiculous. So when we go to the USA, we always bring back cheese. And they actually limit the amount of cheese as 1 block per person at the border. Does this not raise red flags as well? So when the dairy farmers made a sign saying, we support Agenda 2030 on reducing emissions for our farmers, no, that's the government talkers, not the farmers. Anyways, there's nothing to see here. Birgit Messerschmidt, the NFPA research director, says 2019 was a particularly bad year for industrial fires. There were over 5,300, nearly 15 a day. But I can only, so this is fires overall, but I can only find 10 such incidents relating to food processing facilities for that year. So from 10 a year into 10 in 2 months. And there's the source. I have the site. It's on the website. Not even 7 full months into 2022, and there have already been 37 incidents at food processing plants in the US alone. Also, it's the NFPA article that the fact checkers keep referencing, so I haven't got much faith in those fact checkers. Something else to consider is the cap of fertilizer shipments announced by Union Pacific Rail in April. So this is really something interesting to kind of dawn upon. When the rail controls the shipment of fertilizer and food for the farmers to work with, and they stop the production at the farms by stopping the shipment of fertilizer. The railway majority shares totaling 15.58% of Union Pacific Rail are held by none other than the Vanguard Group and BlackRock Inc. And this is why they buy up shares and ownership in so many things where they can control, and specifically now the food market we're noticing. Alongside the 2 fertilizer plant fires, a backlog of shipments over the last 2.5 years, and now the caps. So there have already been shortages of fertilizer for the last 2 years. The result is farmers are receiving less fertilizer, which also has to be contributing to lower yield and higher prices. It's all on purpose. Fertilizer, however, isn't the only product affected. Let's continue on to page 2. By the caps. Fertilizer is not the only thing affected by the caps. Diesel exhaust fluid, DEF. And this is another huge alarm. I think DEF came into, it was around 2012, 2013, maybe even 2011, when all the trucks were then had to do the DEF, the diesel exhaust fluid, for emissions. And I am in the field with Amsoil Synthetics, and I actually know how to reduce emissions, the volatility out of the exhaust pipe by percentages, and reduced waste oil by 80+%, and sometimes indefinitely with the quality synthetic oil, and using oil analysis. And I've extended my drain interval on my vehicles indefinitely, 1 oil change for life. Just change the filters, top up every year and do an oil sample. But they don't want you to know about this stuff that actually helps the environment, guys. Emissions is based on contracts of money moving hands and politicians saying I'm doing something, even though they don't even understand that they're doing nothing but actually tyranny, control, bullshit. Okay, back onto the DEF. Required by newer diesel engines is also among the delivery caps. As if diesel users haven't been feeling the pinch already with the soaring fuel price, now it's more difficult for them to get DEF fluid. It makes operating the newer diesel vehicles impossible if the DEF tank is empty, unless owners disable the emission-cutting component of their exhaust systems. So what you don't know is if you have a truck in the last decade with the DEF, if you run low on DEF fluid, your truck will go into like a limp mode where you're crawling on the side of the road at 10 kilometers an hour. So you have this trailer, things to get somewhere, you're stuck in the middle of nowhere because of your computer of your vehicle. You don't need the DEF to run your engine. In fact, everything about this makes your engine run hotter. You have to change your oil more often. It increases the used oil. It reduces the life of your engine. So now you turn over vehicles more. You get worse fuel mileage. It's all actually bad. Worse fuel mileage, more oil changes, less length of your engine. But it'll put you on the side of the road stuck because you ran out of this DEF fluid. Unless owners disable the system. I've also read about the diesel oil additive shortage, so I should probably be stocking up on AMSOIL's diesel concentrate and cetane boost now that I read this. And I've seen shortages of diesel oil already affecting AMSOIL slightly, but it's more the mineral oil producers. According to Mike Adams at Natural News, Chevron US and Lubrizol in Italy are the sole producers of the additives which make up 25% of engine oil, and they haven't been producing for a while now, with no plans to start again until sometime in 2023, citing maintenance issues. Most trucks, trains, ships, farm, and industrial equipment use diesel fuel, and they require a 1040, a 1540, there's 1030 diesel oils, but with certain additive packages to make a diesel oil, lots of total base number, to lubricate their engines. So I don't know about you, but I can see where this is headed. I wonder if we can go back to using canola instead. Remind me again why both Biden and Trudeau governments shut down the Keystone XL pipeline. Our own independence, our fuel, our oil independence. Oh, right, so we can push electric onto humanity while using gas and oil to operate mining equipment while destroying large swaths of the environment to find that precious lithium and blood cobalt for those non-recyclable batteries. Insanity, she wrote. And again, I did a story on the cobalt, guys. The cobalt mines in Africa, 15 of the 17 or 18 are owned by communist China. And those 15 are in Africa. And the kids are the ones going through these mines, unregulated mines. They're dying, poor conditions, paid $1 a day for near-death experience to mine the cobalt. And for a battery, you need like 10 pounds of cobalt in a lithium battery for a car. So again, cobalt it's the new blood diamond. So, and again, you need coal, you need fuel to charge your electric vehicle anyways. The solar is only good for a tip of the charge. I did a story on that as well. Now back to it. Back to the potentially manufactured food crisis. It warrants the planting of another seed for the critical thinkers. If you've paid any attention to government-funded legacy media, dinosaur media, you'll be aware that tens of millions of chickens, turkeys, and ducks have been culled in the US, Canada, and across the world to combat the spread of alleged avian influenza outbreak. According to a United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, question and answer publication dated April 2015, people can't catch avian flu from eating the supposedly infected chicken or egg as long as the product is cooked to the standard safe food handling internal temperature of 165 Fahrenheit. And we all know about that. When you're cooking chicken, you got to make sure it's cooked. 165 is obviously the key number because you don't want to get salmonella. And you can go check out on my YouTube channel, California Salmonella Superbike, because I got salmonella food poisoning at the racetrack in 2013 at Thunderhill Raceway. A fan of mine came to help at the track, Daniel, and he's like, what do you want, Marcel? I'm like, I'll take the chicken bacon. And I picked that from the sandwiches he brought back, and then I got salmonella, and I still went racing with salmonella. I threw up in my helmet during the race, and I still got second place. So check out Salmonella Food Poisoning Superbike Racer. Salmonella Superbike, maybe it's called. So back to it. So why are these animals being destroyed when they could be cooked and then frozen for human or pet consumption? Are the birds actually exhibiting symptoms? I asked because the USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service, APHIS, is proactively attending private and commercial farms to test their fowl. Now we're back onto the rapid test bullshit. According to the USDA fact sheet, also from April 2015, APHIS is using rapid tests similar to the C rapid test to diagnose and subsequently determine the fate of these birds, healthy or not. And we all know you can test a papaya with these rapid tests and they come positive. You can test a lot of different fruits like kiwis, etc., and water, and they'll have false positives. I have personally tested and witnessed the C test from 2 different manufacturers show positive results from swabs taken from kiwi fruit and 3 different growers, and also from tap water from 3 different growers on these tests, she's writing. Asymptomatic, meaning healthy people have been testing positive for something that also affects kiwis and tap water in my first-hand experience. You can also go on to, is the tap water even healthy for us? Are they poisoning the tap water? It certainly makes me question the accuracy and validity of these rapid tests. What are they detecting exactly? And given the hype over the alleged and never proven asymptomatic spread of C, the APHIS looking for any other sources such as contaminated water, feed, or perhaps pesticides that could be sparking these alleged illnesses, I have my doubts. We all have our doubts. Common sense prevails. There is plenty of doubt. Next, on the method of destruction of these birds, it's noted worthy to mention the cruelty in at least one instance at Rembrandt Foods in Iowa, owned by billionaire Glenn Taylor, that occurred during March and April. Yeah, you guys think I treat the kitty cats bad because I kick them off the table with like yelling at them or blowing air, sea cough on them, or scare them with the camera in the face. Read about this. One single confirmed case of avian flu led to the inhumane destruction of 5.3 million healthy egg-laying chickens. Tom Cullen of Iowa newspaper, the Storm Lake Times, revealed, how ironic his name is Tom Cullen, revealed the birds were culled using a system called ventilation shutdown, VSD+, in which air is closed off to the barns and heat pumped in until the temperature rises to above 104 Fahrenheit, thus suffocating and practically roasting the animals to death. After assisting with this reprehensible deed, the 200 plus workers were subsequently fired. You guys get involved with this? You don't think killing all the chickens, your jobs are going to be gone? I can't imagine how they're doing mentally after killing all the chickens. Then they lose their job because there's no chickens now. Incidentally, on July 15th, Canada imposed a ban on the import of live birds, raw chickens, and eggs from as many as 21 states, and that number will likely grow. I don't know the statistics on how much poultry Canada imports from the U.S. specifically, but I've seen many packaged in cooler section of larger grocery store chains with the USDA stamp on them. I guess we're going to be seeing less of those. In other words, on June 8th, the California State Water Resources Control Board announced that water diverted from rivers and streams would no longer be available to the 4,500 water rights holders between Fresno County and the Oregon border, forcing them to turn to wells, stored water, or groundwater if they have it. There were cutbacks last year too. However, they didn't happen until August. Less or no water means less or no crops, and with California being #1 supplier of the produce of the U.S. and Canada importing much of its produce from the U.S., this can't be a good thing. Cutting to the source from calmatters.org environment. On a positive note, if you enjoy dining on insects, London, Ontario is now home to Aspire Foods Group's cricket processing facility. According to Mohammed Ashore, co-founder of Aspire, I quote, "Crickets have this incredible ability to convert what they eat into protein, biomass," end quote. He further claims they can produce protein much more efficient and with a fraction of the amount of food, water, and land needed by the protein sources. Their target harvest rate is 13 million kilograms or 9 metric tons annually. In a June 27th news release, Agriculture and Agri-Foods Canada revealed that they are investing as much as $8.5 million into Aspire's facility. Wow, Agri-Food Canada is putting their money into it. The communist tax dollars. stating alternative sources of protein such as insects provide an opportunity for Canada's agriculture and agri-food sector to more substantially meet global demand for food. Aspire's goal to tackle global food scarcity led to its focus on edible insect protein, which can provide high volumes of nutritious food with a low environmental footprint. Canada's food already sells 3 flavors of their cricketed protein puffs to Canadian consumers, but you'd need to really read the label and know, and buyer beware. I figured that, of course, guys, they don't put it like crickets right on the, it's like going to be the byline. If you have a shellfish allergy, you will likely have a cricket protein allergy as well. Oh, we're back, and Coco has joined the party. Okay, so while food-related manufacture facilities continue to burn regardless of the cause, poultry continues to be culled at an alarming rate. Water is cut off for California farmers, fertilizer, and now diesel exhaust fluid shipments are capped, and grocery store prices skyrocket. Just remember, there's a cheaper, creepy, crawly alternative to a grocery store near you if it isn't already there. Bon appetit. Wow. That's it, guys. That's the story. So, again, let's go to the author. Thank you, Michelle Zeh, Z-E-H, for writing the story. Coco, thanks to you for the story. Coco doesn't want to eat crickets either. But if anybody eats crickets, it'll probably be Fred. Our food supply is under attack. It's that simple. Right, Coco? This is Marcel with IrnieracingNews. Oh, Coco, watch out, Coco. Thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for listening. Again, make sure you just get on Druthers, Druthers. Go to their website. You can check out all their newspapers because they were obviously censored in many aspects. And I'm going to have to upload this and be careful with this upload as well. I'm going to upload it to my IrnieracingNews. And hopefully there is nothing in there that it's going to be against the narratives agenda on YouTube censorship. Thanks for watching. Oh, and it's August 11th, 2022, 2:21 p.m.